guys, what's up? Welcome back. So as you can tell, I'm gonna be talking about my yearly favorites. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started with some primers. They're both by Benefit, and the first one is the Professional. This is the original Professional. I love this. I feel like it really does minimize the pores, especially for me, because I do have larger pores, especially on my T-zone area and on my nose. So I find that this really does diminish the pores. I will say though, if you do add a little too much of this product, at least for me, it does make my skin a little more oily than normal. So I just have to make sure I go in with a light hand, which is actually kind of good because then this product lasts you a very long time. The next product is also by Benefit, and this is the Professional Matte Rescue. If you want full matte finish, if you have oily to combination skin, I definitely recommend this. The thing that I do love about this so much though is that it is like a gel mattifying formula. So as soon as you rub it into the skin, it's gonna sink in, and you're not gonna have any like silicone base on your face. It's gonna be completely matte. Next, I want to talk about eye primers. So the first one is the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. I love this eyeshadow primer. I have very oily eyelids, so I find that matte eyeshadow primers work the best for me. So I think the Urban Decay one is a really good option. And I don't really have any eyelids, so I can go in with the original, but Urban Decay also does have colored eyeshadow primers if you do want to cover up some of those veins. For something more affordable, I loved the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eyeshadow base. It is one of my favorites. Honestly, I would probably prefer this a little bit more than the Urban Decay one because I feel like this is a very matte, and I feel like maybe that's why people don't really love this as much. But for me and my personal needs, this works amazing. And if you have oily eyelids, I definitely recommend this. It will keep your eyeshadow on all freaking day. The next thing I want to talk about is a concealer, because I do use this as an eyeshadow base for days that I want to do a very colorful look and I don't want to set my base. I will go in with this concealer, and this is the Anastasia Pot Concealer, and this is in the shade 3.5. I love this. It is a nice thick creamy consistency, but when you go over top with the eyeshadows, it doesn't skip. It is super nice and super easy to blend eyeshadow on top of. I personally don't love this as a regular under eye concealer, but only because I am not a full coverage kind of girl. So under my eyes, I like something either medium to light coverage, and this is way too full coverage for me. And once I started using it on my eyelids for my eyeshadow, I started picking this up so much more, because before that I didn't even used to touch this, and now there's a good dent in this concealer now. My number one brow product that I have been using for honestly for maybe 3 years, this is the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade, and I'm in the shade dark brown. I honestly just love pomades just because my eyebrow hairs are very fair, and with the pomade I can achieve a fuller brow look. So that's why I tend to go with pomades, and this is my favorite. The only thing that I don't love about this is that once you start getting to the end, it starts to get a little dry. But I find that if you put a couple drops of any type of oil, like face oil or something like that, you can definitely still use the entire pot. You just have to work with it a little bit more. I want to talk about foundations now. So the first foundation that I want to talk about, this is the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir Foundation. When I first got this was actually sent to me, but when I first got this foundation, I was in love with it. It has such a beautiful finish. It is a nice dewy finish, and it's not too dewy to the point where I can't wear it, because again, I do have oily skin. This is the shade Creamy Beige. The only thing is that their shade range sucks so bad, and honestly that's the reason why I kind of stopped using it, because I noticed that it does oxidize a little bit, so it would make me look very orange, and this is not my color at all anymore. The finish is so beautiful, just like their shade range is the worst shade range. If you do have a shade in this foundation though, I would definitely recommend it. It's beautiful. The next foundation that I love is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. I love this foundation so much. Again, this is like a satiny finish. It's actually the foundation that I have on today. It's like a medium coverage. I would say like yeah, I would say definitely a medium coverage. I'm in the shade Desert Beige. The only downside to this foundation is the smell. It literally smells like paint. Like paint that you paint your house with. That's what this smells like, which is a little concerning, but this foundation has never broken me out or anything. I just hate the smell of it when you first apply it. Once you blend out the foundation, you can't smell it anymore, but when you first initially go in with this, the smell is pretty strong and potent. So yeah, but I love this. It makes my skin look pretty good, especially for something that's drugstore. This foundation is about like $4 to $5 max. And my number one holy grail foundation that honestly I haven't found a foundation that is like so good to me, and this is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I love this foundation. I definitely would say if you want to pick up a higher end foundation, I would definitely recommend this one, only because it is a nice medium coverage. So I feel like most people prefer a medium coverage, but you can build this up to full. Even going into Sephora, maybe asking for a sample to see if you like this. So yeah, I absolutely love this foundation. It is my number one foundation of all time, and I'm still looking for a foundation that is as good as this or even better. This has been my favorite powder of last year, this year, whatever. And I want to give a shout out to my best friend Noemi for getting me on this powder. Oh my god, I don't know what I was doing with my life before this powder. I honestly used to use my Coty Airspun loose face powder, and I still have 2 full like little buckets of Airspun because I haven't even picked them up since I started using this. And this is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. I'm in the shade like medium 20. Oh my gosh, if you have not used this, I recommend this so much. The way I love to use this is I will set my either under eyes, my entire face with a damp beauty blender. I just put it in there and set my face. It minimizes the pores, makes your skin look so smooth and flawless. I recommend this, one of my favorite powders of all time. Okay, so the bronzer that I want to talk about is the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. I love this. I feel there's not much to say, but it is an overall good, amazing contour, and it fits so many skin tones as well. My favorite drugstore bronzer, it is a little bit more higher end priced for drugstore, but this is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I love this. It is amazing. Again, their shade range is not that great, but it is a beautiful bronzer. It is like a satiny finish, so it doesn't have any like shimmers or anything. It's just a little bit satiny, but I love that about this bronzer. It just gives a really nice glow to the cheeks. At first I was a little hesitant, but once I actually started using it, I literally fell in love with it, and I have not stopped using it since. This is like my 3rd butter bronzer that I've gone through. It's actually what I have on today. I love it so much. My next favorite is this blush by Burt's Bees, and it is in the shade Toasted Cinnamon. I picked this up because Kathleen used to rave about this, or she still does. She really loves this foundation. She really loves this blush, and I was like, I need to go see what the hype is, you know what I'm saying? And I walked into CVS, and they had a whole like section of Burt's Bees, so I was like, let me just pick up this blush real quick. And it was the last one. I picked it up, and I am so happy that I did. It definitely is like an orangey blush, like an orange terracotta blush, but it is so freaking beautiful, and I think this looks like really good on my skin tone. Now I want to talk about concealers real quick. Concealer, I think this is probably my number one concealer, my number one favorite concealer of last year, this year, whatever. And these are the ColourPop No Filter concealers. I do have 2 shades. I have medium dark 30 and then medium 28. I use the dark 30 to conceal the top of my brows, and then I use medium 28 to conceal the bottom of my brows, and I also use this one as my actual concealer. I love this so freaking much. It is it's like a full medium coverage. You can definitely build this up to a full coverage as well. I love this. I also use these to prime my eyelids for eyeshadow if I don't want to go in with an actual shadow primer. I think overall these are amazing concealers. The only downside to these, I would say, is that they do oxidize quite a bit, so you might want to go maybe 2 shades up on the concealers, because they do oxidize. But once you blend it out and you set it with the powder, honestly, you can't even tell. I would just say get your right undertone and you should be perfectly fine. I feel like I've picked this highlighter up the most out of all the highlighters that I have in my collection, and it has to be the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighters. And then this is Golden Flower Crown, and this is a true gold. I love this so much. I think these highlights are amazing for the price. They're about $4 to $5 and they're super blinding. Definitely recommend. And they do have a bunch of shades, so you can definitely find something that you like. I'm going to talk about eyeshadows real quick. The first eyeshadow palette is the Tarte Pro palette. I love this palette. I think this is an amazing universal palette. This is, when I do makeup on clients, this is one of the palettes that I always tend to use or always take with me or always pick up, because you can honestly make any look with this. Anything neutral, anything warm. It has nice warm neutral shades. It also has a couple of cool tones in there as well. So I feel like this palette is so universal and so amazing. I've been using it non-stop. It's actually what I have on my eyes today. This is the Morphe 35B palette. Unfortunately, this is discontinued, and I don't think you can get this anymore. But this has been my favorite palette, one of my favorite palettes of the year. So I just thought I would mention it really quickly. It is a nice, beautiful, colorful palette. These shadows are really nice. Some of them you do have to do a little more extra blending, I feel like, especially with these blues, but nonetheless you get a beautiful look, and you literally have the color of the rainbow in here. And you have also, they also give you transition shades for each kind of color, if that makes sense. This is so amazing, and when I first used it, it literally blew me away. So I feel like I just have to mention this. It's an amazing palette. And this is the Profusion Sienna's palette, one of my favorites this year, hands down. So affordable. This is literally $10. Look how big this palette is. The shades that you get in here, something so, you can make beautiful looks with this palette. They are so pigmented, so blendable. Honestly, I have nothing bad to say about this palette. It is so amazing. So I wanted to see if it was just that palette that was good. So I went ahead and picked up this tiny palette from Profusion. This was literally $5. I used this and I am literally blown away. I think Profusion is doing an amazing job with their shadows. It's so pigmented, so buttery. I love this. This is a great everyday palette. I would definitely recommend, if you are a little hesitant, I would maybe pick up something small like this so you can see. But I want to show you guys a little swatch. Like, do you see this swatch? Like, what the heck? Look at this. That is so pigmented. Like, what? That is $5, okay? Okay, so the last and final palette that I want to talk about has been my favorite since I've got this palette. It's been my favorite. I use this all the time on myself. This was my everyday palette. I use this every single time I do a client's makeup. I always find myself picking up a shadow from this palette. And this is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette. This is like the original packaging. I got this on her second launch ever, so I do have like the hard matte packaging. It is so versatile. You can get so many looks out of this. You have a lot of warm shades, but you also have your pops of color if you want to do something maybe on the lower lash line, if you want to do maybe a colorful winged eyeliner. You can do so much with this palette, and you can create so many different looks. It is amazing. And the shimmers are great. You have your nice highlighting shade. You can even use this as a face highlight. It is overall just an amazing palette. I would definitely recommend this over the Vault palettes. 100% go pick this up if you haven't. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about lips really quick. I do have quite a few to talk about. First, we're gonna go into liquid lipsticks. So it just depends. I think lip products are a little tricky only because everyone has a different taste. So I'm gonna talk about a few different formulas. First, I want to talk about like matte formulas, like matte formulas. Anastasia, I think their formula is actually really like well done. It is a matte formula. It is obviously super matte. They will stay on your lips the entire day. I love these because these are so lightweight. Every time I find myself putting on an Anastasia liquid lipstick, I honestly forget that I have a liquid lipstick on. This is actually my favorite color of all time, and this is in the shade Ashton. I use this so much in the fall time. It was my go-to like liquid lipstick, and I loved it so much. This looks amazing on like warm tones. When you have like a warm smoky eye or something, it is like a nice orangey kind of terracotta shade. It's amazing, so beautiful. Okay, so I do want to talk about two like satiny liquid lipstick formulas. The first one would be the ColourPop Ultra Satin Lips. I think if you're not into like drying lipsticks, I definitely recommend ColourPop Satin Ultra Satin like lipstick line. They have a bunch of colors, and I definitely think you can find something that would a color that you would enjoy. This one is actually from the Kathleen and ColourPop collab, but I love this shade. It is so freaking pretty. It's like a mauvey pink almost. Oh, but it is so beautiful, and I love this formula. This is probably like my favorite formula of all time, because sometimes when I do get dry lips, I always use this. Another one that you can pick up maybe like in the store if you don't want to order online, I definitely recommend the NYX Liquid Suede formula. Again, they're very similar in formula. I find that this one is a little bit more liquidy than the ColourPop ones, but nonetheless they work the same. They kind of have the same like wearing effect and everything. And this is in the shade Soft Spoken, I believe. Yes, this is my favorite shade of all time. I've gone through like 3 tubes of these. I've loved this for like 2 years already, and it's my favorite, and it continues to be my favorite. It's amazing for an everyday kind of look if I don't have too much makeup on, and it pairs well with so many things. So last, I want to talk about glosses. Started wearing Anastasia glosses this year as well, and I love these so much. I love these because yes, they give you a nice shine factor, but they're very opaque. So those days that I don't want to put on a liquid lipstick or a bullet lipstick, I would just throw on this gloss, and I don't have to worry about putting a lipstick under or anything. If I want it to last a little bit longer, I'll go in with the lip liner, but this is this gloss right here, and this is in the shade Amber, and it is so opaque. As you can see, it still has that glossy finish, but it's not too overly glossy. It's not sticky, but it's still very opaque for days that I don't want to wear any lipstick. My favorite gloss that I discovered this year, last year, whatever, is this gloss, and this is the Laura Geller Color Luster Lip Gloss, and this is in the shade Honey Caramel. It is the lip gloss that I have on today. I've been talking and stuff, so it's kind of rubbing off a little bit, but this is so beautifully glossy. It makes your lips look so nice and juicy. It is so beautiful, and it has really pretty little gold reflexes. You can't feel it. It's not grainy at all. It is just such a beautiful gloss. I love it so much. It is not as opaque as the Anastasia one, as you can tell, but nonetheless it is super nice, and it's not too overly sticky, and I'm just obsessed with this. But yeah, guys, that is my yearly favorites for 2018. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know this video is going up very late, but better late than never, and hopefully you guys can maybe pick up a couple of these products that I talked about, and hopefully you can leave me your recommendations down below as well of any new products that I need to try this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, I love you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit the bell down below so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.